What is up, everybody? This is Bearded Bites and Breakdowns. I'm Nick Marty. I'm your host. We're doing a special Friday edition. Uh, Normally, we're going to start doing them on Tuesdays, Thursdays, possibly Fridays. We're just going to go ahead and try to do whatever we can to make some content and, just try to bring on some guests. And tonight's big guest, when I say big, he goes by Big Mike. Big Mike, welcome to Bearded Bites and Breakdowns.
Hey,
How you
Nick,
been?
I'm doing good.
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
I like the little concept you got going on here.
Oh yeah, well, gotta set it up a little bit.
All right. Well, hey, tell everybody who you are and tell everybody who you're a fan of.
Well, you see the hat.
Yep.
I'm probably the most well-known Buffalo Bills fan in Citrus County. Nick and I go back. Well, we go back like 15 years now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been a long time.
Before I had all this gray in my beard, at least, an avid football fan. Last 5 years or so, I got back into watching pro wrestling. I dabble in hockey and try to stay awake through baseball. And of course, we do love our chicken wings.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. What is it? So I'm bringing you on because one, I've been wanting to get you on. I know it's been a while. We don't really get to see each other as much because I'm no longer with that company that I was with, so I can see you. And I always loved talking sports with you. So here we go, man. We're going to talk about some sports. We're going to talk about some things that you need to get off your chest. And then, you can tell everybody what you're doing outside of work, And today was, so we'll hit on this. And we're not a political show. We're food reviews for mom and pop places. We're here for, fun. We're here for sports. We're here for youth sports and everything like that. Did you see what the executive order for college football when it came to Donald Trump, making an executive order for college football players? Did you hear about that?
I guess I missed that one, Nick. Why don't you cover it with me, and I'll tell you if I like it or not.
So he came up with the idea of you play 5 years. If you play 5 years, you have to play. That's all you're playing. You can't play more than 5 years. He limited the amount of, transfers. Everybody gets to transfer once. You can only transfer once. You can't transfer. If you do transfer, you have to sit out that year. It's a red shirt year. So that's basically kind of like, they're kind of keeping the calm. They're trying to settle this thing down with the transfer portal and all that, and all these guys that are playing like 8 years in. I understand injuries and everything. We totally get that part of football. But, when it comes to you know, how many years of eligibility you're allowed to have, to me, to me, you should go there for the 5 years and that's it. If you have like a torn ACL or, some kind of medical, like red shirt year, okay, I get it. But you shouldn't be playing 9 years, like McCormick kid from Miami. He had like 9 years in, man. He was like Van Wilder or something.
I don't see him getting his doctorate either. I don't think he's practicing medicine when he's done.
Not at all, man. Not at all. So, my thing is, when it comes to that, my opinion is you're there for an education, but you're also there to play the sport that you're there for the scholarship. So, you know, that right there to me is why you go to college. I just feel like they're kind of missing out on the aspect of, hey, loyalty in some ways, but you know, nowadays college coaches and stuff, they're not loyal, you know.
Oh, who is loyal? We
You
don't have
know,
loyalty in youth sports at the high school level. It used to be when you were a little kid playing small fry, you dreamed about playing for your local high school or like the
yeah.
school your dad went to. And now you see that problem in Citrus County. None of the schools can maintain anything because all their parents yanked the kids out and sent them to the winning program at the time.
Well, I don't even think it's that though. I feel like they just want stability. You know, we've got tons of parents that want their kids to have stability with a coach. You know, like I know my high school when I was going and playing football. I had my coach for 3 years. You know, I wish you know, no offense to Coach Krog, but I wish I had, you know, Coach Wilkinson all 4 years because he put a lot of eyes on our school for a good while it was there. And if he had more time, and him and Coach Jenkins, Coach Lance Jenkins, shout out Coach, he you would have been happy about this because you're a Notre Dame fan. He was a student grad on the coaching staff where they won their last national championship. So
That's pretty
um,
cool.
yeah, he's a great football mind. You know, can't say enough good things about him. Can't say enough good things about Coach Wilkinson and everything. But you know, you know, if we would have had them with the talent that we had previously before me, before like my class, we probably would have gone a little bit further. You know, just saying. So, but
I hear you.
with go ahead.
No, I hear that. Like high school I went to in upstate New York, I'm Corning East, you know, go Trojans. They don't exist anymore. They've since combined with Corning West. We had our coach for like 20 years. Now, wasn't a guy I enjoyed playing for, but in the same time, he had that stability. We ran the triple option on offense, and we ran what we used to call Canes cover two, which was
Mhm.
it's more like a 5-3, but he called it a 3-4. And he was big. He enjoyed the Miami defense, so we always ran Canes cover two. But like my senior year was a rebuilding year. So we didn't win a game into our last two games. Okay. And then a lot of those kids were sophomores and juniors. They learned how to win. They started going to, we call them sectionals. We don't have districts up there. So they went to sectionals. And within a few years, that team went to state. And a lot of that foundation got laid in those last two games I played for them. So, you know, that made me feel good that I felt like I was a part of at least starting to lay the foundation for the
Yeah.
success they had the next few years. Not taking any credit for it. That was all running the system and a couple, you know, each team that went to states had an extraordinary group of kids. So I'm not taking any credit, but I like to think that that's when they started learning how to win was my last year.
Well, and then, you know, like I said, getting back to it, you know, I feel like there's not enough loyalty on both ends when it comes to coaches, when it comes to the school, when it comes to, you know, so that's why the players, you know, you know, that, you know, as a player, as a former player, you know, like you kind of see like, hey, like you kind of see it both ways. I wish it would go back to a little bit of loyalty, but the problem is nobody's loyal nowadays when it comes to you know, trying to trying to stay at a program for a long time. It doesn't matter who it is, you
I
know.
definitely want to get back to college, but I'll start with at the high school level.
Yeah.
Wherever you live is where you should play, unless they have like an extraordinary circumstance. Because at the high school level, it should be about playing for your hometown, you know, like the whole Friday Night Lights, rah, rah, you know, not how can we poach about, you know, there shouldn't be charter schools. There shouldn't be, there's always going to be. We even had those in New York. So, I mean, where you have a school, it's a private school, so they go out, oh, we don't recruit, but yeah, they got kids driving, you know, hour and a half, 2 hours a day playing football and other sports for them. You know,
Yeah,
and
but I mean, on that note, though, like I like to be honest with you, if I was going to be coached by what my parents would call a moron, and that's me saying it lightly. That's me saying it nicely, I guess you could say. Um, I would not. I would want to transfer myself. You know what I mean? So
Right.
to me, like when it comes to that situation, you kind of got to take it with a grain of salt. I mean, I know one parent took her kid and he ended up winning a state title. You know what I mean? So he ended up winning a state title because he got out of the county. I don't think he would have ever had that opportunity here if he played for one of the local schools. And that's no offense to any of the coaches right now, but it's just, hey, you can't build a program anymore because you got NIL, you have it's like free agency, and then you got those private schools that play public schools, but they can recruit. They're allowed to recruit. You know what I mean?
Charter schools, it's hard to keep up with them.
Yeah.
But all I'm saying is, I get it. But when we were playing, if you had a moron for a coach, those were the breaks. You played where you played, and you still had standout athletes that stand out. They'd still get picked. I mean, college recruiters, pro recruiters, they love a few spots. And it's hard to get for other kids across the country to get recruited unless you're a standout lineman. Those are the only ones that usually stay in state.
Yep.
It's very hard to get recruited some parts of the country. Like if New York, if you're a great lineman, you're probably going to Syracuse or Buffalo because that's where they look for their linemen. They want out of state for the skill players and the speed. But if you look, I don't want to say scouts are lazy because I feel like if you can play, they'll find you. But they make it easy for it when they go to Florida, Texas, California, Pennsylvania, and then the rest of the country kind of gets glossed over. Ohio, I don't want to forget Ohio. Okay, we may,
I gotta say though, New Jersey, and I'm not just saying this because
New Jersey is good, especially up by New York City, the tri-state area.
Listen, New Jersey, I mean, they've produced a lot of good tight ends and some good quarterbacks and stuff over the years. So, I mean, Greg Olson was from New Jersey, I believe. You have those guys that have showed out, from the armpit of America.
Tri-state area has always been a football hotbed,
Yeah. So
no one state gets the credit because I don't know a lot of people know this, but New York City and upstate New York, they don't even have the same state tournament. New York City has a city championship. They don't compete at the state level. The closest we get is Suffolk County. They're what we call Section 9 or Section 10. I can't remember. They competed in the New York State tournament, but the city never really wanted much to do with us, so they just have their city championship.
Now, let me ask you this. We're going to head into the NFL talk and everything. What did you think of McDermott getting fired? What did you think of the Joe Brady hire? And who did you want?
Tell you the truth, I'm in the minority. I wanted McDermott, but I did feel you needed a change. But if we were going to make the change, it should have been sweeping changes. Bean should have been out too. I'll give the man credit, though. He's had a hell of an offseason, in my opinion. A lot of the Fairweather fans, they don't understand some of the signings. A lot of people poo-poo DJ Moore, and I'm ecstatic. DJ Moore had his best year under Joe Brady's system when he was the offensive coordinator in Carolina. What my personal theory is, and I'm not, I don't pretend to be an NFL analyst. I'm afraid of any inside. I just form theories and opinions. The owner, Terry Pagula, has a lot going on in his personal life. His wife had a health crisis. She's not doing very well. Like mentally, there's a lot going on there. Her health is terrible. She needs 24-hour assistance. His daughter, Jessica Pagula, is one of the top-ranked tennis players in the world. So in my theory, he wants to take care of his wife, see his wife, and he'd like to go watch his daughter play tennis. So I think that's why Bean kept his job, because Bean can go hire the coach because the owner has to do the search for the GM. but the the GM can go hire the coach. I don't mind Brady. It's going to change a little bit, but at the same time, it felt a little lazy. You
Yeah.
really didn't hear about them doing a lot of different interviews. When I heard Philip Rivers, I know he's probably not quite ready yet, but it would have been a shock hire. And if anybody can go coach a guy like Josh, I don't even know, from what I've heard, Josh Allen's a wonderful human being. He's very coachable. If you have another quarterback with a great career in there, how's he not going to listen? How's he not going to take instruction from a guy like that? Even though Philip Rivers did look like he was shot putting the ball every time he threw, but it was pretty damn effective.
Listen, hey, Philip Rivers was one of my favorite quarterbacks watching in college. He was one of my favorite guys watching at NC State. He had the dark tinted visor, where you couldn't even see his eyes. He like sidearm shot put that damn ball, and he get it there, man. And he was so damn feisty, and he would have like some crazy comebacks. I remember a game against Maryland when they were actually in ACC, and it was a hell of a game. And he would go crazy. And I loved Phil. I loved Philip Rivers. I hated, seeing him not win one, but I mean, some of the greats don't win one, and he was he was a trash talking dude, but man,
Without
he
did it without cursing.
He was tough, man. Yeah.
I mean, that's real trash talk.
You want to cuss at you either.
That's what I mean. That's real trash. If you can trash talk and not cuss, I think you should teach a class, especially to some of the, let's just say, I'm not going to mention any names, but some of the other youth coaches in the area that used to talk their trash, and they'd be dropping all kinds of language with kids around. They should go take Phil Rivers' etiquette course on trash talk.
Listen, sometimes you can say stuff, and sometimes you shouldn't say stuff. But I look at it as it's one of those things where you're kind of like it. Nowadays, I feel like kids need to be cussed at because the way everything's being so soft nowadays, it's crazy to me.
I just thought that in small fry, but the kids today, I don't think they can handle it. If from experience, with me, it's you won't even know you're saying something that's going to hurt somebody's feelings, and then next thing you know, a parent wants to, oh, our kid's not playing. Well, okay.
I mean, it is what it is, right?
Yeah, we won't touch on that. That's water under the bridge. I still look for that kid's name, and I still hope he has a wonderful football career, and I'm sure he will. He's one of those special kids. I just felt bad that, about the situation, the way it played out. But let's spin back around to college, because I ended up doing what I always do, drifting off into left field before I give you my answer in the college stuff.
Yeah.
First thing, college is a separate entity. I don't think government has any. I mean, there are state schools, so I don't know if it's going to stand. But my firm belief has always been, like you said, injury red shirt, you keep getting hurt, yeah, you get another year. But the transfer, I would say, you go to a school, you get one mulligan, you can transfer one time, and yes, you sit out a year. However, the only other thing I'd add to that, since there's no loyalty among the coaches, you get recruited by a coach, you want to go play for that coach, maybe the new coach coming in isn't, going to run what you want to run. Maybe he doesn't even want you there. So I think if the coach leaves the program, then that should open up an immediate transfer window. But kids shouldn't be able to go willy-nilly, just go where the money is. I think the NCAA could have nipped the whole thing in the bud about 30 years ago if they just gave these kids like $500,000 a week walking around money, because that's all they wanted. They were tired of being broke and not being able to accept anything. So if you give a college kid like, $500 a week, especially 30 years ago, and then they could have increased it for cost of living. I mean, the colleges are making millions and millions off itself. Some programs are probably making billions. Yeah, they could afford to give them a little stipend so they don't have to go out and get jobs. But there's a time the NCAA wouldn't even allow them to get jobs.
Well, that's the thing, though. Like, they're profiting off of them. They're selling the jersey. They're selling. I mean, when they would sell like a number 1 or a number 4 or number 21, they were profiting off of that player. I mean, how many Tebow jerseys they sold? Without his name on the back, they sold 15 number 15 jerseys. I mean, they were making a huge profit, and they weren't giving it back to the players. So, I mean,
that should be written in though that they profit off a percentage of every of their likeness. That's kind of what NIL was supposed to be. It wasn't pay for play. I mean, I've always compared colleges, and a lot of people say, man, it's AAA football. No matter what they say, it's not the NFL. Mm-hmm. So, absolutely, these kids should have been getting paid for the jersey sales, video games, stuff like that. But that's only if they're drawing money. Like if you, like pro wrestlers, if they're not selling merch, There's no, that's written in their contracts. They get a percentage of the merch, and that's like half their contract. That's where Hulk Hogan actually made a ton of his money to make it from actually wrestling. He made it from merchandise. So like Tebow should have got, since he was generating that much revenue, he probably should have got like 80% of those jersey sales. They should have been just covering the, cost of production and maybe another 10% or so. So that they've been screwing the kids over for years, but it's like other pro sports now. The pendulum swung way too far, and there's too much money. Like that kid, what did he leave Tennessee? And they wouldn't pay him enough. He goes to UCLA for $1 million and finds out California taxes knocked it down to like $600,000.
Yeah. I think that was
Nico
it Rashada? No, who was it?
He was a quarterback.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. It's just like Jaden Rashada. I think it was Jaden Rashada. He went ahead and he he went ahead and he tried to outbid himself to the point where he went to Florida instead of going to Miami. And then he ended up going ahead and now he's like at some small school and then taking time off because he's got mental health issues or something like that. So, but to me, when you look at it as that situation, where those kids, he was making like, I think that one quarterback you're talking about, he was making like $6 million at Tennessee. His dad tries to go ahead and get bid on it. And his dad went ahead and, hey, we're going to UCLA. Well, they're only paying him like $5 million. But then, like you said, the taxes and everything like that. So
actually, it was like $1 million is what he had because they had to swallow the only place that would give him anything, and then $1 million for the season. Then those taxes out there, it's one of those high income tax states, knocked it right down. Where he was in Tennessee, I think if I remember right, they're a state that doesn't have income tax, or if they do, it's very low.
Yeah,
so, I mean, it's like I don't understand why professional athletes go to states with high income tax. I don't understand why Florida's got no income tax. I don't know how those 3 pro teams, the Jags, the Bucks, and the Dolphins are pulling in all the biggest athletes every year.
Well, I mean, look at that's why hockey. That's why looking at hockey and everything. That's why a lot of players want to come down to Florida to play for the Panthers or the Lightning because
especially Canadians and Europeans, they're taxed.
Well, yeah, I mean. It's one of those things where it's like, well, I don't want no state taxes,
Yeah.
But back to the question though about Joe Brady and stuff. Who were you wanting besides obviously Joe Brady is your coach, but who were you wanting for to be the head coach for the Bills?
Tell you the truth, I've always trusted the organization. I'm not one of those fans that I pretend to know everything. Totally have form opinions. Hey, I'm always a dreamer, and I love nostalgia. He hasn't been talked about in too many circles, but I always wanted Frank Reich to get a shot. Or years ago, man, every time Marty Schottenheimer came up, I'm like, he was a Bill. He builds programs. If he ever gets over the hump in Buffalo, that's 2 celebrations. Fortunately, Marty never got over the hump. The Bills haven't yet either. But they just, I'm sure Joe Brady's going to think things, bring some good things. Hopefully, we don't throw those, little 3-yard passes all the time. Hopefully, we go downfield. I'm more excited about Jim Leonard. He played safety for us in the early 2000s, and normally I'm not a fan of the 3-4 because I feel like they get run on. But he's going to bring an attacking style. And whereas the Bills, we don't need to stop them every drive. We need a couple turnovers a game because we've been scoring 30 points a year for 3 years straight now. So if we just get a couple turnovers, we're going to be beating teams by 2 touchdowns.
Well, I feel like that's the thing about you guys, though. You guys get turnovers at the right times. And that gives Josh more time, many more tries to score. I feel like as a Ravens fan, I was wanting Joe Brady as either head coach or OC. I didn't know how that was going to turn out. I was wanting Joe Brady, but because I feel like he can get the most out of guys when it comes to having a, let's say, mediocre wide receiver room. He sticks with the running game. He's very patient when it comes to the running game. That's the reason why, when we played against each other in the playoffs, Bills and Ravens, he stuck with the run. It may not have done great at first, but he stuck with it. He just kept pounding the rock, and he played safe ball, and sometimes that's what you have to do. You have to pound the ball, play good field position, and play good defense, and that's what you guys do. You guys try not to turn over the ball, and then I feel like that's why the Chiefs have always had y'all's number in the playoffs in some ways, is because they get you guys out of that safe zone and make you guys panic. That's
in all fairness to Josh, he's actually went down and won the game a few times for him, and something always happens. They manage to come back and score again.
13 seconds.
I mean, can't do much more. That was probably the greatest playoff performance we've seen this century, and I'd put that up against anybody else. You put the stats up, I'm sure it was, numbers wise, it was the best playoff performance by a quarterback this century.
I mean, he has those games, and then he had that game, where he just kept turning the ball over against Denver, Yeah,
and 2 of those turnovers go away. Bills win that game by 2 touchdowns.
Well, and that's the thing. He had his chances. It's just I tell everybody this, with Lamar, and everybody's wanting to go, oh, Lamar chokes. It's crazy though. You look at the stats of, Patrick Mahomes. His defense has caused 30 turnovers in X amount of games in the playoffs. That's playoffs. You know what I mean? That's total playoffs. That's them causing turnovers to get the ball back for their quarterback. Lamar has had 8 or 9 playoff games. His defense has only gotten the turnovers 2 times. Burrow and Allen, they're over 15 apiece. I think Allen's a little bit more because Burrow hasn't made the playoffs in 2 years. So that's a big difference, and that's what drives me bonkers, is because if you look at statistics, when it comes to Lamar in the playoffs, he's actually had, you take away a turnover here or there. Yeah, he fumbled the ball, but that was because he had a missed snap. If he didn't have a missed snap, he would never bobbled the ball trying to make a play because he was panicking. And instead of just going down or throwing the ball away, which really drives me nuts as a Ravens fan, is because he doesn't throw the ball away at all. I don't know why he doesn't do that more. And that's what is going to that's what really drives me nuts about him. He takes the sack instead of just throwing the ball away, get rid of it, put it in a safe zone where it's out of bounds, where no one can get to it.
Look, I'm gonna touch on something that's all American sports.
Yes.
This talk where teams choke. It's the biggest BS I've ever heard in my life. You're talking about the best of the best, the greatest, athletes to ever play the game, and every year the athletes are a little better. There's no such thing as choke. The Bills don't choke. They just, those teams are just that damn good. Maybe this year against Denver a little bit, but also Josh Allen's playing with a broken foot. So I'm not making excuses, but he hasn't had the benefit. Because I put Mahomes, Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow. I put them all in that. They're all in that top tier. They're all great core. If you put any of those other guys in the Chiefs, they're still in championships. They've got one of the greatest head coaches in NFL history. We've all loved Andy Reid when he was in Philly. When he was here, he's always either gotten close or finally broke through. And they've also had the benefit of Steve Spagnuolo is probably the best defensive coordinator in history, not named Bill Belichick. You can say what they want about Bill Belichick, but as good a head coach as he was a better D coordinator. So the Chiefs have had that. They've had some good players. People don't understand lightning in a bottle. It's never all or nothing. It's always the right circumstance.
Yeah.
And I've argued with people about, Belichick didn't do nothing without Brady. I said Brady wouldn't have a career without Belichick. And then Brady went into a loaded situation in Tampa with a great Super Bowl ready roster that was ready to win.
Shoot, you could say that about Parcells, though. Like Parcells, he would have gone where he went without Belichick, as DC, and
it's lightning in the bottle. It's combinations.
Yeah, it is. It is. Speaking of Belichick, there was rumors that they were maybe kicking the tires on him. Would you have wanted a Belichick?
Yeah, Belichick, he had Brady, give him Allen, your defense is going to be good. Yeah. I actually, now you mentioned it, I'd kind of forgotten about that because a lot of people are, he's not doing well in North Carolina. The college game's not for him. No. He might not even care about football now. He's got like a 20-year-old hottie. He's popping blue pills and having a good time. Maybe he doesn't care. Maybe he's trying to get a job for his kid, when he's done. Yep. But he's living his best life right now. He don't care. He's getting paid millions of dollars in the state of North Carolina, which is it's a pretty good state to live in. There's not exactly high expectations at North Carolina win a national title every year. As long as you go 8-9 wins, they should be pretty happy.
Yeah. But speaking of him, though, what did you think of him not being a first ballot Hall of Famer?
Oh, just, it's like with baseball, the steroid thing. These writers take their positions way too serious. And, it's just time to put a lot of these guys in. I don't really care. As long as you get in, first ballot doesn't mean much. It's a perfect thing. You're a Hall of Famer. There's not levels to the Hall of Fame.
I understand that, but I still think he should have made it first ballot.
He absolutely should, but that's the writer going. He didn't like talking to us. He was gruff. Just stay on to next week.
You had former Bill Polian, Bill Polian, who assembled. He assembled your all's team back in the early 90s, and and he assembled the Colts and everything like that. And I mean, hey, you can't take anything away from Bill Polian on certain things, but when he is pounding the drum, so to speak, allegedly pounding the drum for Bill Belichick not to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame first ballot, it kind of
he's gonna get it. But
it's kind of disturbing,
Honestly, if you want my honest opinion, after Spygate, that whole team should have got the death penalty. All the coaching staff should have been banned for life. And the fact that anybody would ever stick up for it, the NFL destroyed evidence for them. They knew it would cripple the game like the 1919 Black Sox scandal. That's why the NFL swept it under the table. Same thing with the Astros in baseball. Anybody involved in that scandal, they should have been banned for life. Hell, Pete Rose just bet on his own team and they kept him out of the Hall of Fame. But these guys get caught red-handed cheating. And
So
come on, I will argue that any Patriot fan will get blue in the face. They're not winning that Super Bowl against the greatest show on turf, but they knew the plays. It was almost like when the Bucs won that first Super Bowl against the Raiders. They didn't cheat. Just Bill Callahan was too stupid to change his calls because they were still running Gruden's playbook.
listen, my old man was a Raider fan, and he's like, we have offensive line that averages over 330 pounds, and all they had to do was just lean on them guys. And the two games that they lost during the season, the Bucs did, their defense got exposed by Carolina that year. I believe it was Carolina.
Man.
Carolina ran the ball down their throat, and that was the way to beat them. And for some reason, Callahan just did not want to change up the calls, change up anything, which is crazy to me because you had Tyrone Wheatley, you had Napoleon Kaufman, you had all those guys, Crockett. They could have pounded the ball. Instead, they chose not to. And that's not taken away. Listen, that's not taken away from the Bucs' defense.
Oh, no, the Bucs, that's one of the better teams in the modern Super Bowl era. I loved them. I rooted for them that whole year. So they weren't playing Buffalo.
Listen, they were a great defense, but when you have a weakness and you don't expose it, that falls on coaching in a lot of ways. That, and it didn't help that Barrett Robbins, rest in peace. He just passed away, I think, this past week.
Well, you got you all in Mexico, right? I remember that, right?
Yeah, he remember he got in trouble. He went AWOL, and he ended up getting in trouble. And they found him in Mexico. and it was like,
what are you doing? They wouldn't let him bring that peyote over the border. He got a little ticked off,
Listen, it was crazy too. Is like when it comes to Super Bowl and having somebody mess up. Remember Eugene Robinson for the Falcons, against Denver that year.
He got caught for listening.
He gets arrested, and there goes Atlanta's shot on defense. They get exposed by Elway and stuff.
Atlanta shouldn't have been there. That Minnesota Vikings team with Randall Cunningham, Randy Moss, Carter, Robert Smith, they would have won that Super Bowl.
Yes, they would have.
I would have bet my house on it.
That would have been more fun than what we saw. It would have been so much fun.
Maybe they don't win, but it's like this year's Super Bowl. If Buffalo does what they're supposed to do, the game's a little more fun. I don't think anybody's beating Seattle in that game, but you get that Josh Allen magic where you don't think we're going to win, and then, they come back. I'm just saying the game would have been a little more fun, the Super Bowl. It was almost a foregone conclusion after that first quarter. You're like, the score is close, but this game kind of feels over.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Mike McDonald, look, man,
genius. You guys never should have let him walk out of the building.
You don't got to tell me, man. I relive it all the time. Like, we gave up Mike McDonald. We didn't even give him away. Like we gave him away. We didn't even trade him. Like, we should have traded him, or we should have just made Harbaugh take a front office job or traded Harbaugh away. Trade him for pants buttons for all I give a damn.
I do see the Giants, though, making noise in the NFC East this year. Harbaugh is that kind of coach. I think he'll turn them around.
Listen, he's going to do great for the Giants in some ways. I just don't like some of the he's not an offensive guy. No,
he needs to let somebody make all the calls.
Yeah, but when you got Matt Nagy, I mean, come on, man. Matt Nagy is living off the coattails of Mahomes and Andy Reid and stuff.
He doesn't have Andy Reid holding his hand.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then you notice like they didn't put up a fight to keep him. They were like, go ahead, take him. Go ahead and take them.
They brought the enemy back because they need good cop, bad cop. That's what they were missing. They got the good cop in Reed. They need the enemy to be a bad cop.
Yeah, and to me, like I feel like the Giants will. I thought they were going to be a wild card team if everything panned out right this past year, but they had some injuries and everything like that. I feel like Harbaugh is going to get them right, and I feel like they could be a wild card team, and that's just my opinion on that. I know some of my friends that are Giants fans that are go Big Blue and all that stuff. They're expecting a lot, and to me, like they'll get it as long as they can stay healthy. So my the next thing I want to talk about is and I'm gonna bring this up, so hang with me here.
You're good.
So did you see what Eric Ebron said about did you see what he said about Andrew Luck? Let's take a listen.
All right.
Let's take a listen here. Give me a sec. All right. Hold on. Can you hear it?
No.
Nope. Yeah. Hold on here.
You gotta fire that tech supervisor. What's your producer doing?
That would be me.
No, you can't fire yourself. So
no, you can't. But
get Gray in there and just be like, Gray, come here. Then he comes up like, you're fired. You don't know what's going on. You'll feel better.
Maybe. Maybe.
You yelled at, but you'll feel better.
Yeah. Hold on.
You're good.
Let's see here. I know what I'm doing here. Come on now. It is definitely a oh man. Share screen. I'm doing that, and that's what I'm doing. I'm going to that. And I'm sharing. All right.
Oh,
here we go.
He's so tired. Andrew then decides that he's so tired of. He don't tell nobody this. This is the backstory. He's so tired of
Obviously,
injury,
it's not going to work.
and he
for
just
me.
doesn't want to do surgery.
I was hoping it would.
You know
I think
who
I
the
got too
man
many
is
things
around
open.
there that gets on everybody's nerves. Big draws over there behind.
Basically, he said that Chris Ballard told him he basically gave he gave Andrew Luck a ultimatum. He basically said, you either play this year or we're moving on without you. And Luck wanted to get a surgery done. Luck ended up going ahead and said, well, if you're giving me that choice, then I'm retiring.
Yeah. He got sick of rehabbing every year. He had no off season because he was beat the heck. He's beat the heck behind that porous offensive line. And he did hold the ball way too long. He learned how to slide way too late. But my God, you're already playing a season that's 6 months. Soon it'll be 7 months. And because they're going to go to 18 games, going to happen. They'll get rid of another preseason game. So you're all beat up. And then you got to go through and rehab. So there's no off time. There's no time to. The guy has an engineering degree from Stanford. He had no time to go enjoy his money because he was already set for life with the pro career. He had no time. What's the point of all that money if you can't enjoy it? So I don't blame him. And, I'm afraid too. I mean, it'd be good for our teams, but I like watching excellent quarterback play. Yeah. I'm not somebody who hates on somebody just for one, except for Tom Brady, because I was but I like seeing Patrick Mahomes. I don't want mom to come get me. I like seeing Joe Burrow play. So Joe Burrow's the one I'm concerned about because he's the one that gets hurt every year now. And he's got his little dainty stuff like the fashion and stuff. Eventually he's going to want to do more of that instead of rehabbing. Like he wants to wear his GQ coats and, little frilly stuff like that. I don't get, but you and I, if we were playing pro ball, we'd be on a fishing boat drinking or going to games and stuff. We wouldn't be modeling for GQ.
Well, listen, man, the guy can do it.
Oh, yeah, he's pretty.
You
He's
know,
definitely pretty.
listen. I can see him doing acting soon. You know, if he doesn't do it, he might do modeling, but I could see him doing both. You know, I could see him one day just coming in and going, I'm done. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, these guys are set for life. The money they're making.
I mean, he is, and you know, like when he made that comment this past year, where he's like, if I'm not having fun, I don't want to do it. That tells you right there that he's kind of broken, and in some ways, that, and you know, you got I don't care what you know, my buddy Jalen says, Mike Brown is the cheapest owner in the damn. He's one of the cheapest.
Bidwell in Arizona. Bidwell in Arizona would be like, hold my beer, you know, if you told him that.
Listen,
Cardinals are a poor-rated organization.
Who's that?
The Arizona Cardinals. I listen to the Fantasy Footballers podcast a lot. All those guys, they're out of Arizona. They're funny. They will help you with your fantasy football team. They do a lot of the work for you, but my God, they talk about and they bring up you know, how every franchise gets graded. You know, the Cardinals actually charge their players for food.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. That's what some organizations do. That's why, like,
they're the only one in the NFL.
That's why a lot of these, you know, like these grades that they come out with, a lot of these owners are kind of trembling right now because they, you know, they're going to get bad marks. You know, it's funny how, the Ravens got A's and B's. I think they maybe got 1 C out of it. And then you got basically you got that. And then you know, like the Steelers, I think got a couple F's. You know, I think the number 1 team overall was the Dolphins. And I was just like, how?
Well, they had a couple of super low marks, if I remember right, though.
But my whole thing though is like, how are you, like, are you counting all the votes? Because to me, like, you know, that's the huge question right there. That's hey, are they actually counting all the votes? Because, you know, it's like when they vote for, you know, the best 100 players in the NFL, they only give you 20 players or so, and then they try to, like, they take a list of like 25 players that are on there that you vote for or you fill in, and then they turn it in, and then they calculate who got this many votes, and then they go by that. They don't actually vote. They don't vote actually 100 players. Like, they don't actually. It's not 100 players on the list, and they just go by that. Like, you know, it's not a blank sheet. You know what I mean? So it's a popularity contest at times, you know?
The NFL's top 100 has always been a joke to me. Because there was one year, I can't remember which quarterback it was, but he played like one game and he made it. It's like, played one game and he's the top 100 players in the NFL.
Yeah.
Plus, way too much love to skill positions, you know? You know, the big guys do the dirty work. That'd be the one time you could really give your linemen up front recognition instead of just a handful, you know? Because, you know, people don't want to hear it, but usually the best athlete on the team is your left tackle.
Yeah. But, I mean, the game has changed, though, to the point where I feel like, and this is not just me saying it, hearing, like, you know, guys like Baldy, you know, Brian Baldinger and stuff like that, you know, it's more, the game is now being built on the inside out. They're not really worried about the tackles anymore. They're more worried about the middle, because teams are starting to take advantage of those middle blitzes, and they're faking the outside blitzes and trying to pressure right up the gut, because that's the fastest way to the quarterback, and they're trying to disguise them a lot. And that's the reason why, like, Seattle does a great job with Mike Macdonald. There's stuff that, like, guys are, you know, they're talking about, like Mahomes and Kelsey and stuff. They're talking about, man, we didn't even see any of that stuff on film. You know, like he's just throwing out like cover 3, but he's disguising it as cover 4. and then they're mixing the blitzes where they're not going off the edge; they're actually twist stunts and everything like that. So it's wild, that's the other thing about Jesse Minter that I'm excited about with the Ravens is they're gonna have those exotic looks like McDonald because he was under McDonald when McDonald was on the staff with Minter and when he was at Michigan and all that stuff, I believe. So, that is the exciting part about it. I'm excited to see what happens in the draft. Where are you watching the draft at? You gonna watch it at home?
I got a group of guys that's going to make sure you get invited. We're going to go to Glory Days that night. They already talked to management there, and they promised us they were going to have volume on for the draft.
Okay.
Even Big Al is going to show up.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I won't say we almost finished that with what, but I know you don't want to drop where anybody works or anything. So,
nah, not really. I mean, I just don't want weirdos threatening y'all and all that stuff. I would love to join you, but I already got plans. We do it. We kind of been doing a tradition. Me, Jalen, and JTP. Call him JTP, Joey Tight Pants. We normally get together on the first night of the draft and hang out at Glory Days down in Brooksville. But we're probably going to do the podcast and talk about the picks, every pick that happens, and guess who's going to make the pick, or who's going to be the next one to pick, and all that stuff, and get instant reactions on that stuff. That's the game plan for draft night on the first night. Second night, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do on that. I would like to, hang out and go from there. I kind of miss the draft only on Saturdays and Sundays. You'd
run out and mow the lawn, and the next you'd run inside noon for the first pick.
Listen, I woke up. I remember one morning I woke up. It was Sunday morning. It was around 9-10 o'clock. I woke up and I was excited because the draft comes on Sunday at noon for the second day of the draft. It would be like the fourth round, or I think it was fourth, right? Wasn't it fourth?
Yeah, all the way to seven. All 7 rounds were Saturday.
Yeah, well, they had the fourth and I think all the way to the 7th round on Sunday, and I woke up to Randy Moss being traded to the Patriots. I was so livid, but then I was so glad he was gone from the Raiders and stuff, and I was like, well, I guess I gotta be a Pats fan for a couple years because I loved Randy,
That's gross.
But
that's gross.
Well, I rooted for Randy. I didn't really care for the other stuff. So, but Randy was my guy, man. And that's my thing on that. But what is it? So yeah, the draft is coming up. Are you? Is there any needs you're hoping that they pick, or who you wanting?
Got to find that edge roster, but they still need a solid wide receiver too, so they can move Shakir to the slot where he's the most effective. I think DJ Moore is going to have a fantastic year, and all we need is solidify number 2, but that could be on the roster right now. Because with DJ Moore drawing the top corner, and then we've got a good set of tight ends in Knox and Kincaid. Yeah. You let Shakir do his thing in the slot. All we need is another outside guy, but I think he could be on the roster right now. I'm big on Josh Palmer. He couldn't stay healthy last year. He gets good separation, just couldn't stay on the field. And now that some of the money drubbers are gone, I was happy when we got Curtis Samuel. The same thing, couldn't stay healthy, and he never seemed to help us. There's rumors they might bring back Brandon Cooks if the price is right. So if that happens, I think he could be that number 2 field stretcher. And then, we can just solidify the defense, get more guys to fit that 3-4. It's a big change going from a 4-2-5 to running a 3-4.
I feel like though you got the D tackle Walker from Kentucky last year.
I love that.
I wish the Ravens would have got him. They made me so mad that they didn't even address the defensive line, and I kept on saying that on the Ravens Vault. I kept on saying it to Bobby Trossett and everything like that, who hosts the Ravens Vault with Sarah Ellison. I kept saying, like, hey, what worries me is the D-line depth. And then, of course, Metabike goes out after the second game with a neck injury. And then his career is questionable. I keep on hearing things that he's going to play this year. Now I'm seeing him post workout videos, cryptic messages on X, Twitter. And he might be coming back. I heard that he is. That's what Coach Jason Brown from the Netflix series. What was it? What's the Netflix series with the colleges and stuff? Huh?
Was it Untold?
No, it was the college, the ones that they followed, the college, the JUCO schools and stuff. Anyways, he was one of the guys. He hosted the show, and he was talking about Last Chance U. That's what it was. Last Chance U. He was talking about how when he was on that show and everything, and then he's coached. He has a great show in a lot of ways. There's certain things that I'm kind of like, it's just too much, he'll say certain derogatory things that I'm like not a fan of in some ways, but he said that Metabike is going to come back most likely. He also was saying how Monken didn't talk to Lamar didn't talk to Monken for like 4 months, even though there's multiple reports that say Monken himself actually said that he could have done a better job communicating with Lamar. And then Lamar says that he loved Monken. He just, it just didn't work this year. And so there's a lot of mixed things that are going on up there in Baltimore. And I think it's a wait and see with him because, he hasn't signed his extension. He hasn't done some of that stuff and everything like that. But I feel like I keep on seeing like a lot of mocks of you getting Denzel Boston from Washington. He's the wide receiver. They call him the poor man's Mike Evans. So, if he's poor man's Mike Evans, that's something right there. That's David Boston's son. Remember David Boston?
I do. Dude was a house.
Yeah, the guy didn't know how to stay off the juice.
And then he was so big he played tight end the last year of his career, if I remember right.
Yeah, for the Chargers. Was it for the Chargers?
I think
Something
so.
like that. Yeah,
Played for a lot of teams.
Yeah, he tried out for tight end. I was like, man, what the hell happened to him? He ended up doing he had a decent career. I just wish he stayed off the roids. He kept on juicing too much. His face, you could tell in the face. He had the opposite effect of like Bonds. It wasn't his head that was getting big; it was his cheeks. So
and not being able to put down, he did like to eat too. I think it's a combination.
Well, you can't do roids and try to eat because it just ain't gonna turn out right. They keep on having mocks of for the Ravens. They keep on having Joe Trident of from Arizona State. He's a wide receiver. He's like 6'4", 6'3". Supposed to have a good catch range and all that stuff. But my problem with him is his hamstring. he can't seem to be healthy. You know, like I don't want a guy like that.
Just
I
need
don't
to let
want
him
a
tear
Brashard.
it off the bone, and then they can fix it.
Well, I don't want a Brashard Perriman, man. You know, I don't want some guy that's going to be, you know, nagging injuries. You waste a first round pick on, and then they keep on saying that we're interested in Ivana. I think it's called Ivana Vega, the Penn State guard. He's got good film, but I don't feel like he went against great competition. You know, in the Big Ten. You know.
Well, Nick, you know, one thing about the draft experts, they're like 90% wrong most of the time. It only takes one guy to go where they didn't think, and their whole draft is screwed up. I think every NFL team has their own board, and that's what they stay. If they're smart, that's what they stay true to. You know, don't worry about Mel Kipers and all these other.
Listen, I love Mel. Grew up watching Mel, but I listen to everybody. I listen to Greg Cosell. I listen to he's on Ross Tucker's football podcast. I listen to Emery Hunt, this guy, man. Listen, you think we're football nuts? This guy's breaking down scouting reports and everything for Canadian football players. You know, this guy has a guide. Go look up Emery Hunt's football guide. It's not paperback. It's digital. This guy has like over 1,000 players or something like that in there, and everything has a detailed breakdown of what their weaknesses and what their strengths are and all that stuff. This guy's amazing. He's the one that I've been listening to him quite a few years now on Ross Tucker's college football podcast. He's the one that was talking about Keaton Mitchell, and I kept on pointing out Keaton Mitchell and stuff like that. And he's like, "Listen, if he goes somewhere, he gets utilized, he's gonna do very, very good, you know." So my thing is like, you know, when it comes to that right there, you know, that's a good guy to listen to. You know, I see McShay's got his own podcast now, and he does it with Zane Bulaga or I forget who it is. He does it with him. I think it was Lane Zerline or whatever. But they do a pretty good podcast where they break down stuff. It's a very good spectrum of like a lot of breakdowns and everything. Draft Nerds on X, he's a good follow and everything. And what's your opinion on Ruben Payne about his arm length and all that? What do you think? Because, you know, as a former lineman, you know, he's a defensive lineman, you know, can play the end, could probably play inside, but everybody's knocking him about his arm length. And I'm like, have you watched the film though? You know?
Well, it only hurts if you're an edge rusher. If you're good at doing the inside stuff, like the rips, you know, even swim moves, you don't need long arms. It's all leverage, you know, or bull rush, you know. But if he's really good at getting that inside rip, your arm length doesn't matter. I think arm length's most important for tackles and those edge rushers. They use the straight arm rush to keep the offensive lineman's hands off them.
Yeah,
you know, that's the only time arm length's really important. Like, look at the Patriots tackle in the Super Bowl. They're talking about that all year, and my God, he got exposed in that game. That rookie couldn't block to save his life in that Super Bowl.
Yeah, Will Campbell.
Yeah, I don't know why they're not kicking him inside. He'd be fine at guard. Maybe they didn't have any other options, you know, but poor kid got left out to dry.
I didn't understand why didn't they chip him more, but you know, he also had a rookie left guard too, which did not help. It did not help things, you know. It felt like that one side was giving up a lot of the pressure. I know my buddy Jay was like, he was sitting there, he was like, cut him, trade him.
Well, even in the Denver game, they were giving up pressures.
Yeah, And I don't think, to be honest with Will Campbell, I think he came back too soon off that knee injury. Not trying to make excuses for him, but it's very hard to pass set and all that. With a knee injury like that, coming back from it so soon. I get it. He was trying. Say what?
Especially when you got little T-Rex arms.
Yeah. So, but do you think Bain is going to drop?
I couldn't tell you, Nick. I don't follow the college game very much at all. I sit down and watch it. Definitely don't follow the players like I used to.
Yeah.
I'll always be a Bills fan, but even the NFL games changed enough to where pretty much I watch the Bills. I watch the big games on Sunday, and then of course Monday, Thursday night, I always watch that. But the game's changed enough for me now to where it's just kind of every game kind of looks the same.
Yeah.
It's all passing and speed. The power's been taken out of the game. And I know they had to do that because these guys are too big, too strong, too fast. That's also my theory why you see so many, tearing up knees and Achilles injuries, because you're bigger, stronger, faster, but your tendons, your tendons don't grow. I mean, I'm sure they got ways to strengthen them, but when you got that much weight moving that fast and all of a sudden you stop and cut, it just explodes.
Well, here's my theory on it. And I used to talk to my buddy Gunderson about it.
Gunderson.
Gunderson. I used to talk to him about it because if you notice, rugby players, soccer players, they don't tear their ACL or their Achilles. They don't pop their Achilles as much as football players do. They don't.
They don't have the
they also don't tear their ACLs as much as they do, and they run a lot more than NFL players do.
That lean muscle. They're not carrying that weight, NFL,
well, that's the other thing. Well, that's the other thing too. But I believe the way the cleat is made on the bottom now, it's not stable enough to do those cuts with your leg. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that could be an issue that I know there's data that has brought that up, but there's not, they're kind of not, they're not trying to blame it on that, because then they would have to change a lot of things. You know what I mean?
Well, I know you like longer cleats for traction, but you see that a lot. They don't necessarily need that extra traction. And that's when the cleat will get stopped and stuck in the turf. And that's where these guys go to cutting a dime. Even if that cleat gets caught for a millisecond, I think that's where these no contact injuries come from.
Yeah.
Gets caught for a millisecond.
But that, and I mean, yeah, granted they do work out more. They have to put on muscle and everything compared to soccer players in some ways. But my whole thing too is a soccer cleat is way different design on the bottom than a football cleat. Football cleats, I feel like, tend to it's good that they grip and all that, but I also feel like too the way they're designed, it's not it needs to be looked at. I feel like it needs to be looked at. That's just my opinion on it.
Don't soccer players wear metal cleats a lot, though?
No, I don't think they do. I just know that one, you got to think about their turf is probably a lot different compared to an NFL turf. They're playing on all of them play on grass. That's the big difference too. I feel like turf is it should be, they should get rid of it for a number of reasons. To me, I feel like players would probably benefit off of it playing on turf. Like I remember, going to the South Sumter games and walking on that turf, just as a coach, my knees were hurting afterwards, man. Like my knees would hurt, and I didn't even play, I was just coaching on the sideline, just walking on that turf. is just doesn't feel good on the joints, you know.
Well, me personally, I liked it when they came up with the Astro Play. You know, it's all that ground rubber.
Yeah.
A little bit softer in the ground, but it didn't hug your cleat like the carpet would. That carpet, I was basically playing on concrete.
Oh, I remember playing up at and I think I told you this, up in Tennessee Tech for the All-Star game my senior year. We went up there and we practiced on the actual game field of the college at Tennessee Tech, and it was AstroTurf. And some of the wide receivers they didn't even know what AstroTurf was, so they went to go. You know, they're trying to impress the coaches and trying to dive for balls, and they come up with their arms all gashed up and everything, elbows gashed up. They're going ahead, and they got road rash and all that, and or bleeding like crazy. And they were like, I'm not doing that again, you know. Not until the game, you know. They weren't trying to do it until the game. So so here I want to move on to this. Tell everybody what you do for and what your wrestling promotion is. Yeah, we're gonna talk about wrestling now. So tell us about your wrestling, man.
Everybody, like the shirt says, I made sure to change for this. Sunshine Pro Wrestling. It's a startup wrestling organization. They've done shows in Denellen, Marion Oaks. Next show is going to be, it'd be a bit of a drive for anybody in Citrus County. Going to be out in Castleberry. Okay. We're going to do it at the Empire Wrestling School. It's already set up. There's a good stable of men and women at it. A lot of young stars. I think you got a lot of young future stars. Let me pull it up on my tablet here so I don't get the date wrong in case anybody wants to venture out. It's it's a inexpensive night out for the family. Most of the gentleman who runs it, his name's Keith Luis. Great guy. I've gotten to know him over the last year. Just outstanding human being. What he's doing is he's trying to build a platform for younger talent to go out and they can still work with other organizations. They're all independent contractors, but it's a way for them to showcase their talents and get, matches on tape and maybe build a local fan base. So the next show we're doing is it's out in Castleberry, and it's called Ray DeLucia 2. They did a Ray DeLucia last year, and it's going to be Sunday, August 26th. 4 to 6 p.m. I mean, like anything else, we usually run over. What I do for SPW is considered your lead commentator. We're still working the bugs out. Eventually, we're going to go back and every show that's on the YouTube channel, go ahead and check that out. It's on YouTube. We do have matches on there, just no commentary yet. We're going to go back and lay tracks for that, do some commentary. But it's worth a check. It's kind of clustered right now because it's mainly just the shows and highlights and some promos. One of my favorite promos was last year. I sit in as lead commentator with at the time our women's champion, the Voodoo Queen Gina Sequa. She was defending her belt against the Dime Clara Changemans. Now she's kind of semi-retired. She makes more bodybuilding now than she does wrestling. So, but Gina's still part of the organization. She may make a special guest appearance. She's got all the tools to be big in the business. She's well known. She's well known in New Orleans. She lives in Ocala now. She's been to the wrestling schools. She works a lot of shows. She's a lot of fun to watch. She's a good human being behind the scenes, which I don't know if I should break character, but we're not living in the age of kid game anymore. She's an absolute sweetheart, but her character, the Voodoo Queen, it's a good look, and it will. If you believe in that stuff, it will make the hair stand up on your arms watching her go. There's some good male talent too. Like right now, we call him, he's the Phoenix Crown champion. There's a little bit of a controversy with the lineage on the title. I don't want to talk too much about it. Let's just say a wrestler walked off with the belt and he hasn't been back to defend the heavyweight championship. So we diverted over to we call it the Phoenix Crown champion. The gentleman, his name is Rose Allday. And he is what you call, if he was a baseball player, he'd be a 5-tool player. He's strong, he's fast, he's great on the mic, does all the aerial stuff, gets over with the fans, during the show, after the show. He's a gentleman. You just getting to meet these guys and girls behind the scene. A lot of them are really good people. Problem with independent wrestling, you think everybody would try to help each other out, but there's a lot of, especially between organizations and promotions, there's a lot of jealousy and claims of poaching talent when all these wrestlers are independent contractors. So I'm not going to get into that. It's not really my business. I wanted to throw it out there because I don't have to deal with all that. I'm not the owner. I get to talk wrestling. I get to call matches. At the last show that they're going to put on, it won't be on YouTube until this next show on April 26th. They're going to put the last show we did, Titan Collision. I was actually the in-ring announcer. Our other announcer couldn't make it, so I filled in. I was told I did an excellent job. I got lots of practice when we were coaching together, being up in the booth. So it's, I'm good at running my mouth and being loud. I had a nice.
You do have listen, I know my voice isn't the greatest, and I always hate listening to myself when I rewatch certain things that I do or videos, of like me talking from with and like when the boys were growing up and all that, and I just hate my voice because I sound like I got a bunch of marbles in my mouth or something. But listen, I'm a little harsh on myself. But listen, you had a great voice. You always had a great voice. It's that deep voice, and you did a great job doing play-by-play for the organization that we coached at and all that. I won't say.
Be careful not to mention that.
Well, I just to me,
you don't want to
listen. We, my thing is, it's water under the bridge, but
good memories and best wishes to them. We've got good memories.
Best wishes. Yes. Bless them.
It's exciting time for youth sports in Citrus County. I mean, you got 352 doing some stuff. You got all the local Pop Warners are still churning along. Football. It feels like youth football has never been more popular.
You got Florida Elite. You got PAL down there in Pasco. I'm supposed to have a couple of those people on. I reached out to my buddy Shannon and everything like that. I want to continue doing the wrestling, but shout out Shannon, shout out Brandon Valeka and all that, Hudson Cobras, Andy North. I appreciate y'all. Gonna have some of those guys on, talk about their organization and everything like that. It's all about giving an opportunity for the youth around here and letting people know, hey, there's other programs and stuff that are out there. And if you need a flock to it, you got to flock to it. That's how it is. But it's funny how you say like, wrestlers, independent contractors and everything. And then it's like, well, it kind of reminds me of like the transfer portal in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty damn hilarious. Let me ask you this, because you're going to do the commentating and everything, right? Are you going to do the ring announcing too?
Not this show. Our older announcer's coming back, but I'm always there to fill in. But I'll also be there, probably be in the gorilla position for folks who don't know about it. I know a lot of folks know about it, so I don't want to talk to them like they don't. But gorilla position, you're out back, and if there's any changes, I can contact the owner Q. Hey, we got some wrestlers want to make a change, and then I give them the thumbs up or thumb down. I either tell them stick to the script or do what you got to do. But Em is as nice as possible about it. All these guys, people don't understand. You need to have so much respect for anybody that goes into that ring and puts their body on the line to entertain others. It's a dream.
I was going to ask you though, and I don't mean to cut you off, but was it? Have you guys tried to get the depot over there in Inverness?
That's funny you mentioned that. So, okay, now some people can call BS on this, but I'm going to tell you the God's honest truth. That was my idea. I contacted them early last year when I first got with Keeve, and they thought it was a great idea. And Keith went in for whatever reason, just couldn't get a deal done. And the next thing I know, I see another organization in there, and I'm like, wait, that's my idea. But I talked to Keith. He's friends with that promoter. He said, wish him the best. And, it's not really the promoter. I think the county or the town, whoever owns it, I think they started reaching out because they thought it was a fantastic idea. For whatever reason, Sunshine Pro couldn't get it done, but that local slam, their organization, small town, they're a great organization. I'm glad they're doing well. God bless them. But that part of me, every time I go, man, that was my idea.
I went. We went there and we saw Eugene.
Yeah, I saw a picture.
We saw Eugene there and everything, and that was fun. It was like, listen, there's some people that find it cheesy and everything like that, and I look at it as like, it is what it is. It's entertainment. So it's just entertainment. And the fact that I look at it as some people find it, really funny. I know the kids got into it and everything. In fact, the kids ended up doing a gesture back to the wrestler because he gave them a finger salute and everything. But we
try to keep it family friendly, but the wrestlers sometimes they go off script a little bit.
Listen, to me, I think it just puts more heat on them, man. You got a guest. So are they gonna try to go anywhere in Citrus County though?
I don't want to speculate. Well, the community centers, they're hard to book. They're booked out for months. I know we've talked to Citrus Springs. They do the micro wrestling. They're booked out until like late next year. There's another. I don't know which community center is local, but they say they won't book for anything under NXT. So I'm going around. I'm checking out venues because I'd really like to get something in Citrus County. I know Keeve we want to build up a little bit, but he's looking at the fairgrounds. Out there, but with the rate for the day and whatnot, we want to make sure it be a big show where we can, make sure we draw because everything's money. Hey, quit knocking stuff over. He's a publicity hound, that cat. He never comes back.
I was gonna say, I know, like the Citrus Springs Community Center. I know they do NXT. They do the micro championship, all that stuff.
I think that's the one that they won't book indies. It has to be NXT or micro.
Yeah. So that's a shame. That's right down the road, and everything. So that would be an ideal spot for me.
We're always looking. So if anybody knows a spot, hey, wrestling would be good here. There is a venue in Crystal River I'm looking at. I have to get back over there and check, get our application and see how much, because it's all about Keeve has to make some kind of overhead or at least break even.
Yeah.
So and he's to that point now. He's found ways. He's got revenue coming in. He's a smart dude. I'll have to get you in touch with him sometime. He's a good guy.
Get him on. We'll have to get him on, man.
He's charismatic, and he knows his stuff. He's already got to the point now where, he's making money on it. We just, it's gotta be the right deal. But there's there's a spot in Crystal River. If anybody else knows of a venue, we have a smaller ring and a bigger ring. Well, we usually go out and rent the bigger ring, but we have a smaller ring. So even if it's only like a 10-foot ceiling, we can host in those venues as long as they're big enough to have at least like 70, 100 people, because we do pretty good on drawing. Our next show is here. I'm gonna hold it up. This is the I'll get as close as I can here.
Okay, all right.
Who is Ray DeLuca too? You've got one of the younger guys, Wilson Dyer. He's a wrestler, but he's very good on the mic. He hosts the show. He hosts What's the Trends, and he's going to have our champion Rose all day on there. we have a very exciting tag team called Flippin' Crazy, consisting of Flying Brian Kaiser and El Polo Loco. And they're actually going to be defending their tag belts. It'll be a different team. The team they were supposed to defend against disbanded. One person left. It's indie wrestling. Stuff happens all the time. So, know, and then some good matches on there. Like Wilson's actually going to wrestle too. He's going to take on a young guy named Lunar Lopez, who's actually a professional drummer outside of wrestling. And they're both high flyers, so it should be an exciting up-tempo match. There's going to be a hardcore match with Luchador he's from the Death Dojo, which is down in Tampa. Go Lee. Hopefully I said his name right. And he's taking on the Clown Prince of Wrestling, Kurt Clownzinski. And they're both interesting. You can actually check out. They wrestled each other way back at Champions Quest, which is definitely on the YouTube channel. I mean, if you want to see what it looks like and what you're getting into, some of the guys are on the roster, some of them will be there. And then the women's champion, Raven Knight, she's got she's going to proclaim an open challenge to defend her belt, which if you've ever watched wrestling, that's usually trouble. And there are rumors that, I got a soft spot in my heart for her, though. Gina Saquad, the Voodoo Queen, might be popping in. But we don't know for sure. So we don't know what's going on. There's a lot of good young female wrestlers that are out there. It's the Empire Wrestling Institute, I believe it's called. That's where we're going to be hosting. And they have a lot of good younger talent, male and female. So we're going to try to showcase some of that. And then in late June, I would say Okalawa, or, out there past Bellevue. We've actually booked the community center out there, and that's going to be, I want to say it's June 19th. I'll come back and drop it, but I'll be posted on my Facebook too. And we're actually, it's exciting because we may actually have two brands, because the Castleberry is such a drive. We're actually thinking about splitting the roster and having the Ocala guys at this other location in Okalawa there. It was a good venue. We've been out there. The only thing I can say is I will probably be a lot more involved in the live show for this one. That's all I'm going to say for that.
That teaser, man. Hey, I was wanting to ask you. So basically, the guy that won the championship, he kind of like hightailed it, huh? He was trying to. You guys didn't try to do a Bret Hart screw job, and you weren't trying to take the belt off him before then, or
basically, there's the best way I can explain it to you, because I try to get too involved. Booking's one thing, which I'm starting to get into, but being a promoter is a whole different thing. And there's like 3 wrestling schools in the area. Like, you got Tampa, Orlando, and then north of us, I think it's Ocala. But they're like the gatekeepers. And the reason we're kind of, I don't want to know if I want to use the word outlaw promotion, but they feel that everything should go through them. All the shows, all the talent. And anytime we sign a person that went through their school, they feel like we're poaching talent. And we're not. We're just trying to give these guys, we try our best not to book on their dates. We're just giving young wrestlers another avenue. And, I don't know for sure, but I think some of them just, I feel like they think they should get their kickbacks or everything should go through them. So let's just say one of the gatekeepers came out impromptu, won the belt of the show. Now he hasn't picked up his phone forever. But I don't want to speculate. I haven't talked to any of these other people. Mm-hmm. This is what I've heard, and so Keeve handles all that business. So basically, we just had to. I told him the best thing he could do is just do the Vince McMahon thing and never acknowledge it again. And then we'll just have or it's either that or just announce that Sunshine Pro Wrestling has stripped so and so of the title due to lack of title defenses. But I mean, seeing these wrestling belts, they ain't cheap. So I mean, the fact that somebody basically walked off with Sunshine Pro Wrestling's property and now they're not giving it back,
Yeah.
On the other hand,
I remember back in the day, the Iron Sheik was paid he was going to get paid a lot of money from the AWA or whatever, and Gagne told him to break his leg. Greg Gagne told him to break his leg and Hulk Hogan's leg, and Sheik didn't want to do it. He didn't want to do it.
Businessman, he knew they were on the cusp of.
Well, and then you had I remember when I think it was NWA was running the same show as running the same like exactly like almost near each other, like probably 2 blocks away. They were taking they were doing an event, and WWF, at the time was doing an event too, and Hogan was the champion for WWF. Harley Race told Ric Flair, you watch my bag, and he went to go find Hogan, and he saw Hogan ran into the bathroom because Harley Race had a gun. Harley Race had a gun.
Yeah.
He had a Magnum. Yeah, he had a freaking damn Clint Eastwood gun going on there, and
all these guys are businessmen, though. Even Harley Race ended up in the WWF.
Yeah, that was because
they
the territories, though.
Yeah. Oh, Vince just had the better business model, and he adapted sooner. I mean, it was going cable TV, it was going national. The regional promoters just wanted their kickbacks. It just wasn't meant to be. But the beauty part is, though, now you got all these indie promotions. You can go almost anywhere and find some good independent wrestling. And I know people like to heckle. They think it's cheesy. But, it's like any other sport. You got to respect people just for going out there. And these guys are going out. A lot of them do for peanuts. They go out and put their bodies on the line to try to entertain at the best show they can. They're all in search of that. I got a Dave Meltzer 5-star match, but to me, as long as they go out, the story's believable, and you put out a believable good match, all these guys can do. But some of them will. They will risk everything just to have a good match for whether it's 20 people or 1,000 people.
And
you got to respect.
The thing too is like you got to respect them. It's just it's kind of like anything anybody does nowadays. You're volunteering to go out there and put your body on the line. It's that's how it is with fighters, and that's how it is with other things too. So
the great thing about wrestling, when to boo, when to cheer. So you get your cues, and these guys, they want to get booed. They want you to talk smack to them. The more boos they get, the happier they are if they're a heel. If they're a baby face, they want your cheers, they want your love, they want your adoration. But it's more fun for these guys to play that heel role where they go out, they want to get booed. They want you to, say bad things about their mother. They're going to get off on that, and they're going to put on a good show.
Yeah, they're not like soft NBA players now where they gotta basically kick that guy out. So did you see Luka? Luka got hurt yesterday, and he was on the ground because he took a charge, I believe, and he got hurt, and a fan was heckling him, and fan was going, "Hey, that's what happens when you play defense for the first time ever." I hate to see Luka get hurt, but I hate seeing him in a Laker uniform. So we're gonna move on to food. Obviously that's something me and you are passionate about.
Oh
yeah. I know we love supporting the mom and pop restaurants and everything. Give me, up to 5 your favorite mom and pop places around here.
Well, the one thing, I'm a wing snob, so I'm not going to shout it. The wings are okay around here, but I'm not going to shout out anybody for their wings. You've had my homemade wings, and they're damn good. So, yes. But my mom and pop, I'm going to start off with my breakfast place.
Okay.
Chicken King. It's like 5 minutes from my house. It's been around forever. They do a damn good breakfast. They also have, of course, I have celiac disease, so there's a lot of stuff in the menu I can't eat. But, I love my breakfast in most places. I can go and get that. I go in there almost every Sunday, order a farmer's omelet. It's got sausage, bacon, ham in it with some cheese. I get my not hash browns. I get the home fries. get them deep fried. And then I take a biscuit home to mama because I'm a good boy. I can't eat it. And they take good. They have a great wait staff there. They take good care of my wife. She
You need to
has.
stop sucking up to Sam right now. I know where this is going.
Oh, Sam's fantastic. I worked with her at my other job, but it's just everybody there is great. They've got just good people, and it's funny though. I do ask on occasion. They've got a menu up from 1970. I said, "Are we going to have a day where we can get these prices?" I still haven't gotten an answer back on it. But it's not just breakfast. If you're a fan, they do some great chicken and dumplings. And I don't eat this stuff, but my wife loves the collard greens because she's a Southern girl at heart. She spent a lot of time in Alabama, Tennessee. Another thing I can't eat, but it's legendary there, is that fried chicken they do. Breaded and deep fried. It's gotten smaller over the years, but it's a good eat.
Listen, I used to go there a lot when I first moved up here. I know they've had to rebuild that building a couple times because they had a fire and all that stuff. They were known for their fried chicken and everything like that.
They still are. I'm a breakfast nut, but
I love me some good breakfast. I'll eat breakfast for dinner.
But their chicken is damn good though too. I can smell it. I can't eat it anymore, but I can smell it.
I'm gonna tell you right now, though. And I know you're a chicken wing guy and all that, and I don't mean to stop you from doing your list right now, but we still need to go down to Pizza Joe's down in Palm Harbor. And we need to go get them damn wings. We need to get those damn wings, the Murph wings. We need to get all the wings. Listen, John, I know you're probably not gonna watch this right now, but when you do get a chance, please understand that I brag about your damn place.
He does.
So damn
every
much.
time we talk.
Every time I got to bring it up. You listen. You a Bills fan. You would die in this place. You would want to be buried in this place because they have so much Bill stuff. They even replay the VHS tapes of the old Bills comebacks and stuff like that. You would love it, it's the pizza. I love the pizza because it's got the cuppy pepperoni and all that. And when it comes to what are you doing?
my blood sugar meter was going off. I thought you'd hear. Tell me you're fat. Go take some insulin, but it's okay. We'll be all right to the end of the show.
I love the Murph wings. The Murph wings are delicious. The barbecue wings are delicious. The buffalo wings are delicious there. I can't say enough good things about their wings. Their wings are the best wings that I've had ever.
Can they expand and build a place up here?
Listen, no offense to your wings, but that Murph sauce, I don't know what it's made out of, but it's gold to me. Okay, it is gold to me.
It's a guy up we could keep him open, a place open by ourselves up here.
Listen, I keep on begging them to open a place up here so I can just go there all the time. Heather don't even have to cook for me anymore. I can just go there.
Yeah, I'll show up with you. We'll sit at a table, get our own private table.
Well, we need to go there. So go ahead, give me some of your other places.
One thing I want to say is just because I don't shout out places for their wings, a lot of local places do have pretty good wings. I'm not poo-pooing them. These aren't places, but lollygaggers, you're the garbage wings. That sauce it's nice.
Love me some garbage wings. So,
but as for other places, I'm going to go a little fancier with this next one, but it's a local state. Wallace is at the Greenhouse on 19. It's across from one of the car dealerships. It's a great place to go for anniversaries, birthdays, special occasions, or if you're like me and the wife, we just make an excuse to go there. It's a chef-driven menu. The chef Wallace is such a nice guy. He'll come out and talk to you. They have craft cocktails. He's going there and got like 4 or 5 different old fashions. A lot of gluten-free stuff for God hates me, so I have celiac disease. But I get to go there and order like a human being. I'm also a Bills fan, so you can't shake your head when I say I think God hates me a little bit. But I recommend, if you've got an anniversary, a birthday, go out. It's a local place. It's fine dining, so it is going to cost you a little extra. But some of the best meals I've ever had there. If you go out and order one of their fillets, it just about melts in your mouth before you can finish it. But they also have, fish dishes. They have. Touched on the craft cocktails, but we go in there. We always order 2 appetizers too. They have some yuca fries that are seasoned. It's some of the best damn fried stuff you're ever gonna have. And then we get he does a crab dip there, and I've tried to recreate at home. I can't do it with seasoned homemade potato chips.
Yeah,
I'm just like, I'm like, hey, look over there, honey. And I'm like scooping a bunch into my mouth while she's looking the other way. She's like, what happened to most of it? Oh. But it's a great place. It's easy to get to. I can't talk enough, too, about how nice that guy is, the chef out there, Walls. The whole wait staff's nice.
yeah.
You get treated with respect there. It's a cozy atmosphere. You don't have to dress up. I see people in shorts and sandals there. Wouldn't really, if anybody ever walked there with a tank top, I might do a Tony Soprano and be like, hey, go put on a shirt. But it's a really good place. I can't talk enough about it. So I'm not gonna stop. If anybody needs the recommendation, they can talk to it. You can usually look up their menu online too. It's chef driven. He changes it. It's got different things too. He's got if you're in the mood for curry, he's got different curries, steak, fish, chicken. He's got that's the only place in my life I've ever had duck, and I liked it.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of duck, but
No.
the only place I've ever ordered the duck, and I was like, oh, I wish I could get more, but
I remember my first time having duck. I had duck on a cruise ship. I was like,
the coffee roasted one from
I was 12 years old. I didn't. It tasted really good to me. I mean,
sure.
But my grandpa used to eat sockeye salmon soup with freaking he eat it with some weird crackers and all that stuff. I was like, what other places you got?
Another place that I just recently discovered is Noodle World over there by the old Kmart where Planet Fitness is.
Okay, you like them? I wasn't too high on them.
Vietnamese place.
Yeah,
you get
I've been there.
$15, you get this gigantic bowl of food, and me, I just mix it all together, and I'm a fan too because rice noodles I can eat. I can go in there and order like a human being. I don't got to worry about what's in stuff. Also, a big fan of their fresh rolls. We used to go to a different place in Crystal River before it changed ownership. I won't mention any names. Don't want to throw anybody under a bus. But it used to be the best damn fresh rolls I've ever had. And these are close. They're not quite as good as the last place, but the fresh rolls are good. I'm a big fan of that. Just stirring everything together and just shoveling in my mouth,
Yeah. What is it? I tried them once. I think I'll try them again. They were okay. I was kind of a little disappointed on options and stuff like that, but I'm willing to give I'm willing to give them a second chance. Sometimes restaurants have bad days. Sometimes they change the menu because they're not new anymore and all that. I know there's certain places that I look at as I have different expectations. I go to places that if I fall in love with them, they got me forever. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's just how I am. When it comes, that there it goes again. It's about loyalty. If they're good, I'm gonna brag about it. If they're not so good, I know, Aunt Dabney, who co-hosts is with me. I hope Aunt feels better and everything. I know he likes Mrs. Granny's, or I think it's Granny's or whatever, over there in Inverness. I listen. I'm very big.
Country kitchen that you liked.
Say what?
Granny's is over in Crystal River. I thought you talking about
right. Yeah, Granny's in Crystal River. He likes the what's it called in Inverness?
Mama's Country Kitchen,
Yeah.
or maybe it's Mama's Country Cafe.
Yeah, I think it's something like that. Listen, I'm picky when it comes to my biscuits and gravy, man. Uh, it's just one of those things where it's like, yeah, it's got to be. It can't be canned, man. I can tell the difference now between canned and homemade from scratch. That's the reason why I go to Reds a lot. I go to
Reds is another great spot. Yep, I'm a fan of
go to Florida Cracker Kitchen. Shout out Blair, and Keith and all them guys over there that do a great job when it comes to always producing good food over there. Always get the Cracker Crisco. The big old French toast sandwich. It's like
I can tell you, back to Mama's Country Kitchen. There, they have some huge omelets in there, though.
Listen, I'm not knocking them for all their food. I'm just saying, when it comes to when it comes to certain things, biscuits and gravy, some people, they'll be like, "Well, I don't like stale, biscuits or whatever." I like stale biscuits because I feel like it makes it soak up the gravy a lot better.
Well, I'm gonna eat crackers then, Nick.
Listen, it's just it's just my preference, man. No, I know everybody has different taste buds and all that, but just my preference, So what else you got?
Well, I don't know if a lot of people know about this. Been a couple different things over the years, but over by the hotel down there, a little bit further down the road past Mossy Oaks on your way to Floral City, there's the Central Cafe. It's right there in the hotel. They actually have some international options. Like they do a German skillet, and they do stuffed French toast, and they got a bakery in there. It's another good little breakfast spot to go hit. It's on the left there at the Central Hotel. It's been a few things over the years. Like when Cinnamon Sticks first moved, they were Cinnamon Sticks for a while. Now they've gone through a couple of facelifts, and they're the Central Cafe now. Like I said, a lot of good baked goods, which I can't eat, but they look good, they smell good. But they got some good breakfast options. It's nice to do that international like that. They got a German skillet. They've got like a Dutch one, which has a lot of bread in it. Sounds good. Of course, I can't eat it. German skillet, potatoes and meat and eggs. But it just, if you want something different, it's not a huge menu, but what they do well, and they do it right.
Yeah. Was it? I miss Cinnamon Sticks, man. I love their twisted cinnamon sticks and everything like that. I wish they were still around. I also you remember the what was the restaurant over there in Inverness on that corner? Yeah, I think it was called River Country or something like that. It was called River something. Man, they had some good portions, man. Like those portions were huge. The country fried chicken there, man. Oh my goodness. Oof. That right there, I was just like, damn, I was blown away, man. When it came to that situation, I always would order the same thing there. And this damn country chicken would hang off the plate and all that.
That's the way chicken things used to be when I first moved to Florida. You get your chicken on one plate, the rest of your breakfast on the rest. Another plate.
Yep. Was it what else? Name one more. What you got?
The rest, because of my condition, I am doing a lot of chains because they have gluten-free options. So, I don't make a big scene of it. You get some people with celiac, I don't know why they would choose to be gluten-free. I have no idea why they do that. They make a big scene of it, and I just kind of go in quietly, pick through, and see what I can eat. I get a little embarrassed by it because, it's a pain in the ass for these restaurants. I get it, so I try to just pick out and order what I can. So the mom and pops, it's kind of limited. You don't want to call out everybody or give out, 30 breakfast places, But there's a place close to me I haven't tried yet, but it's Citrus County. Anything new gets a buzz. You got that Tequila Gardens close to me. They're packed all the time.
Keep on hearing mixed things about it.
They're always packed, so I won't go until it goes down.
I wanted to go try it, but then I'm like, I like my Mexican spots that I got when it comes to the one over there in Beverly Hills, Los Magallos. I like the one up in Dunellen next to the Publix. That's like near by the Pizza Hut and all that.
Well, here's what I don't understand there.
Yeah.
They open up another Mexican restaurant. There's already one in the plaza. And my God, I would have killed for a breakfast spot in there. Somewhere I can go, super close to the house, just stroll in, get my breakfast. They're like, it's like walking a chicken or hi, Mike. It's like another place like that. I'm like, because this side of Cross, this part of Inverness, this needs another breakfast spot. You got to either drive to Lake Hernando or you got to drive into town, and nobody wants to drive through Inverness traffic or anything.
Yeah, I know. You got Jimmy T's right down the road from you, but that's kind of still a little bit of a hike.
Yeah,
I like Jimmy T's. I like their breakfast sandwiches. They're a great Greek family and stuff like that. I go there for their sandwiches. I don't go there for other things. Their breakfast sandwiches are pretty legit, and they're decent sized. They got them on a roll and all that. I also, I go to, of course I live, where I live, I'm right down the road from Augie's Cafe Deli, off of El Cam and stuff. And I know Michael Bartoli, he always, does great with food and stuff. And I like all of his sandwiches are good. Like I even had the damn grilled cheese today when I went there to go, give him an estimate for a door. The grilled cheese had nice crisp to it. It may look burnt to other people, but I like a good crunch to my bread.
You
when it
get
comes
that dark brown on there. Yeah,
when it comes to grilled cheese.
Dark brown, yeah.
Yeah. So, was it? Like I'd always go that hole in the wall over there. It was like the American grocery store right there off of 44. Very, very nice Spanish family that owns that. And I love getting breakfast there. I love getting their Spanish rice and everything, their pork, their fried pork that they got. I love that little hole in the wall spot. We need more places though over here. When you go down to Spring Hill, Bagels and Beyond, I love their bagels. They make such good bagels. Up in Ocala, where if you ever have a chance, go to Bagellicious. I think the governor has been there. I think the governor went there and everything and ate breakfast there. They got a good bagel. They got a very good bagel. I love their breakfast sandwiches there. It kind of reminds me of up in from Jersey and stuff like that. So that's those are some of I love me some breakfast, man. I'm like you, I'll eat breakfast. I'll eat breakfast for dinner and stuff like that. I can eat breakfast anytime. It's just eggs and everything like that. So but I'm going to tell you a couple spots for wings though, and I do want to go try them with you and see what you think. I love Angelotti's. I love their wings with their house sauce. With their that's the only place I'll eat ranch. I know you're not a ranch guy. I know you're not a ranch guy, but that's the only place I'll ever eat ranch.
I am, but when it comes to wings, Lucido.
I know I know blue cheese. Listen,
I like ranch on salad. I like ranch on fries. I like ranch on a lot of things, sandwiches, but not with wings.
listen, I do not like ranch unless it's Angelotti's ranch. So shout out to Angelotti's for always taking care of us and everything. Always knowing what I like to drink and all that stuff before I even tell them. They automatically know. They got great people there and everything. And was it neighborhood pizza, man? We need to go. We need to pick a weekend where we can go get wings there because those wings are pretty damn big, and they make the chunky blue cheese, man. Chunky blue cheese. I don't listen. I love me some blue cheese, but it's got to be chunky. It can't be that watery stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It can't be that cheap crap. Like no offense to
blue
Ken.
cheese without blue cheese in it.
Listen, it's got to have chunks of blue cheese. It can't not have chunks of blue cheese. That's just my opinion on that.
You're absolutely correct. Absolutely.
So on that note, you got anything else that you want to plug?
Well, I just want to say to all the youth sports organizations and anybody listens from the high school, if you're looking for a PA announcer, I would be glad to volunteer. Hence the word is volunteer. A few of the people have heard me. I did a few Canes games a couple of years ago when Coach Ross was there. Even did one after he wasn't there. They called me back. So I'd like the opportunity again. I enjoy it. It's a lot better doing football with a spotter. So I'd love to bring somebody in with me with binoculars. Those numbers get hard to see, especially when you're trying to call out a play. But it's not just football. I do basketball. I do baseball. I was talking with somebody at Lecanto about doing baseball games, but you get busy. I can't get out and get my volunteer stuff done. So, I will get that done eventually. But anybody listening, Nick can vouch for me. I would love to go out and be your PA announcer, call plays, whatever you need done. I think I got a good voice. I've been told that. I never believed it, though I got told, but it does sound good over a PA.
Listen, it's very good. I always appreciated you doing that. You didn't even have any kids in the organization or anything. You volunteered your time. It took a time away from your lovely wife and everything, even though she makes bad choices when it comes to college football teams. And then so do you too. So you guys are match made in heaven. Sorry, I'm sorry about that insult.
she was born into it. She didn't have a choice. That's a generation. How these college football families are. That's generations there.
Yes, I know that. I know. But listen, Mike's a great guy. Mike does, like I said, he volunteered a lot of his time to, do the announcing, the PA announcing and stuff, and always was very energized and very, just for the kids and everything. So if you are interested, reach out to me, reach out to him, go ahead and do that. And then, tell us again your wrestling promotion that you work for.
Sunshine Pro Wrestling. We've got a YouTube channel. You can like us on Facebook, Instagram. Next show is April 26th. It's about an hour drive out to Castleberry, but we will have that trying to get shows closer. But it's a good afternoon, early evening. You can bring the kids. It's family friendly. A lot of the wrestlers stay after a mingle, trying to sell merch, but they'll be glad just to talk to you. Let me just make sure I got the date right.
Just send me the poster. I'll repost it on my Facebook page on the Bearded Bites Breakdown. Okay, I will repost that. Send that to me. And everybody go like their page. Go like my page. Bearded Bites and Breakdowns. Mike will be back again. Hopefully soon. Hopefully it'll be day 2 of the draft. I'll get him back on.
Well, you actually have to have somebody who has a good beard on here. It's called Bearded.
Listen, you can't talk trash about my beard. my beard was done by the great Josh White, who owns Uppercuts. And yes, I'm giving you a plug, Josh. So I hope my next haircut is a little bit more pricier. Since I've been with you for about 17 years or so, and one last thing on that topic, because I do want to bring this up. With all the buildings that are going around near your job and all that, I was told by him when he was cutting my hair and making me look pretty, that was that basically he tried to go into one of those buildings to put his shop there, and they want like over $1 million, and they won't allow any mom and pop places to go into those buildings, to be a business. They won't let them do that unless they're like a national brand, which is crazy to me because Citrus County is kind of built on mom and pop places,
but they want to be Spring Hill. That's what they want,
and that's what a lot of us don't want, because I grew up in Spring Hill. I grew up in Spring Hill, and
quiet. It was a lot like where I grew up in New York. Of course, I thought it was a metropolis when I moved here 20 years ago compared to what I grew up in. But no, we don't want that. But like those lots sold for millions of dollars. So I mean, it took forever too, because that store opened in 2013 and nothing was around there for like 5 years, and then McDonald's came in. And then a few years later, and now everything's just booming because you got 1,000 people moving to just the county every week. Housing, jobs, shopping. It's gonna. At least they're improving the infrastructure. The roads have gotten better, especially that road 491 from the 44 to the highway. That's improved tremendously. So kudos to the county for that. Actually, I got one more plug. I almost forgot. Friend of mine, Stacy Worthington, is running for a county commissioner spot. We're trying to do politics on here, Nick. I apologize, but she's a friend of mine. I know her. I'm not telling anybody to vote for her. Just look at what these commissioners are standing on and what they're running on and what they can give the county. And look at some of the incumbents and just see what exactly have they done for us. I'm not going to poo-poo anybody. I'm not going to get into that kind of politics. I'm just going to say, before you go, don't just go check a box. Read up. There's lots of literature out there. I just wanted to give Stacy a shout. I told her I would help her out with her campaign. Unfortunately, life events and a work schedule change prevented me from doing that. I just want to do my due diligence and just tell people, just do a little research before you vote. If you don't know the candidates, read what they stand on. County commissioner is kind of a weird thing. If you don't know, you basically need 3 like-minded commissioners to get anything done. And the only one I know is Stacy. So I just wanted to give her a plug and ask people to go out and look at the facts and look at who they think best represents them.
Now before we go, and I do, so now you got me intrigued. Because like I said, I don't want to do the politics and stuff like that. But when it comes to somebody that and you kind of want to, I get it, you wanted to plug her and all that. What is one? Can you tell us some of the things that she is wanting to do for this county that you might have an idea of, or that she might have shared with you, or is she sharing with everybody?
Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. I actually have some literature. I don't want to misspeak on anything. So I don't want to say something that I misheard. You give me about 30 seconds. I'll be right back.
I will.
Look at
we can't hum any music because we'll get kicked off of YouTube or fined. According to Joe Rogan, if you hum any kind of music, you'll be fined on YouTube. He definitely told us that. So but was it No, you can't do that. Otherwise, you're gonna get kicked out of YouTube. I don't want to get kicked out of YouTube. I don't want to get fined. I don't want to get fined on YouTube either, man.
You can blame
I'm
the
just trying to
crazy.
grow this right now. You know,
You can blame the crazy fat guy. You know,
no, I can't do that because listen, he had Theo Vaughn on, and he was trying to sing a song, and he's like, Joe Rogan's like, don't sing that, don't even hum it.
I think that was the girl from Ipanema, and I think that's public domain. As long as you're public domain, you're okay.
I don't know, man. And so,
all right. So, you know, I'll read the diatribe first. You know, of course, Stacy's a lifelong resident of Citrus County. She has roots over in the Homosassa area. That's kind of her base over there. Okay. But you know, she understands, you know, the challenges of growth, you know, but she wants to manage it and also maintain her status as a nature coast.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, growth, we all know growth is inevitable, but what she wants to do is manage it and keep Citrus County, you know, keep it natural, you know, because you need checks and balances and whatnot. So she's big on completing road repairs and, you know, ensuring the infrastructure integrity. It's kind of what we touched on with the roads. You know, she wants to work with the Citrus County Sheriff's Office and the fire rescue, you know, to keep them so they keep protecting lives and property. You know, I feel like our police department and the fire departments do a pretty good job. I mean, I don't have any complaints, you know, about them. Even though there were a lot of fireworks going on New Year's with the burn ban going on. But, you know,
don't be a rat.
She's like us, big on the mom and pop businesses. You know, she wants to decrease the red tape so more, you know, people like your friend can open a shop, you know, or like guys like us can go start a business. There's so many hoops to jump through if we want to do anything. So, you know, that's another thing. And of course, she's big on communication. She likes to get out and she likes to talk to people. She wants to actually strengthen that communication because this is more my end than hers. But how many people in Citrus County actually know what a county commissioner does? So I think education's a big thing, and listening to people. You know, I sat in one of the meetings and I just sat there and I listened. Because there are people they've been in county politics forever at the meeting. So I was listening, trying to learn something. I got rocks for brains, so, you know, I don't know how much I picked up. But, you know, anytime you have someone you know you want to try, especially when they have some of the same beliefs and values that you do, you want to go support them. You know, another big thing about her, she wants to make sure that we're monitoring the county budget details and expenditures. She wants to use the tax dollars wisely.
Okay.
And, you know, spot saving. She wants clarity. She wants people to know where the money's going, where it's coming from, what it's going to. You know, not just showing up at the last minute and say, look, I got a check. Except the check's been in the work for the last 2 years and, you know, you're just taking credit for it.
Yeah.
You know how politics work. A lot of times people take credit for things that were in the works for years before they got there.
Yeah, I mean, that's the reason why, like, you know, listen, you know, I look at it as I appreciate you bringing this up and everything, but, you know, I feel like a lot of things don't get talked about enough, you know, like, you know, you got kids that are going to college that are getting interviewed by, you know, Caitlin Bennett from Liberty Hangout, who, you know, yeah, I get it. She trolls, you know, people, you know, from the other side and all that. And I look at it as like, but she's asking people, you know, college people on in Clearwater Beach, who, you know, what continent we are on, you know,
don't know.
And they're saying the Gulf of America and all that stuff. And it's like,
but Nick,
how it's just like, come on.
Since when did asking people questions become trolling?
Well,
it's like people shout and scream, but you ask them questions, they either don't know the answer or they get
certain things that there's certain things I like about her show, but I also feel like sometimes she trolls. She trolls too much at times, and it's like, listen, these people are just going to the farmers markets and all this stuff. They don't want to talk about politics. And yeah, if you stop them, they're going to probably talk because they don't want to be rude. But my whole thing is like sometimes it's a little bit too much. But to me, like I said, she does a good job at a lot of things, and everything like that. So shout out to her. She's gotten really big, doing what she does. I just won't go there. Just like I told my Aunt Kathy, I go, hey, look, if you're gonna keep on posting about politics, shout out Aunt Kathy. She just had a birthday yesterday. I won't disclose her age, but she's a very, very sweet lady, and she was blue for a long time, up in Minneapolis and everything. She's retired now. She deserves it, But I told her, I said, if you're gonna post every day, how about you share my page at least to your friends so I can get more followers? You know what I mean? But I feel like, a lot of people don't know what a county commissioner does. I feel like a lot of people don't, do a lot of things that they should, do their due diligence and everything. I've got an open mind on things. I got a lot of people that come at me on my personal post, because I don't agree with what they think and all that. And I'm like,
we're allowed to disagree. Yeah. We're allowed to disagree. The art of civil arguments, civil conversations gone. If people don't, one side listens, the other side you can't approach them with. I won't say what. I'll let people make up their own.
I feel like it's a mixture now. I feel like it's gotten to a point where it's a mixture now. Yes, it's on one side it's really bad, but I also feel like too, we need to do a better job of communicating. We need to do a better job of just listening, and not blowing a gasket. You know what I mean? Well, like having a conversation without and try to understand everybody's side and point of view. I get it. Sometimes it's just crazy and everything. I mean, look at it. We got people going to the moon. We got people going to the moon, and it's not even a big deal anymore. We're actually going to the moon. I mean, to me, I think it's a big deal, but I mean, some people don't. Because they rather talk about blue and red instead of red, white, and blue.
I've got friends. I'm not going to say which side I am. Most people figure it out. I've tried to have those conversations. I found most of them I can't even talk to because they're the ones that get agitated and angry. And I'm like, we can't even have a civil conversation. Oh. So I'm like, all right, well, we're friends. We just won't talk about it then.
Listen,
I don't bring it up. You don't bring it up.
Listen, that's the reason why I love sports. I get it. There's a lot of politics in sports too. I mean, we can have a 20-hour show on just 20 hours straight show of just that conversation alone, especially around this county. It's just what bothers me is no one can have an actual conversation without blowing a gasket or getting offended or wanting to walk away and call them names and all that stuff. It drives me bonkers. And to me, like, it's just not cool. Like I wish we would go back to, at least, hey, we agree to disagree and move on. Let's still be friends. Let's still be family. You got family that will block other family members because, they don't agree with what they believe in and all that stuff, or they have different point of views. And to me, it's just not worth it. That's the reason why, like, I love freelancing, and having open minds and stuff like that about certain topics and all that. I don't want to get in a deep dive on that topic, but
I'm glad you let me do my plug for her. Now I feel like I at least fulfilled part of a promise, I'd made to help with the campaign.
Listen, man, listen, I appreciate you doing that. I mean, to me, that, a lot of people sit there and they complain about, the talking head that's in the White House, but let's control what we can control around here.
Right.
Let's worry about around here first, because we can't really dictate or anything like that. We're just a small little dot on the map of what we can control over there in DC and stuff. And I feel like around here is what needs to be addressed, because it's almost every day. It's an everyday occurrence what you got to deal with, and a lot of people need to start waking up and start realizing that we need to start pushing these parks. We need to start pushing a lot of things, because it's not fun going to Spring Hill anymore.
We need a multi-sport youth field.
We do.
With ample parking, and there's enough deep pockets in the area. They could make it happen.
They can make it happen. It's just like you said, a lot of red tape, a lot of things that we got to go through. I wish things would be easier. Like I said, Josh White, he wanted to get a different location in some ways, because the parking is limited where he's at, because he shares it with Los Magallos and a tattoo shop and a smoke shop and a computer repair shop. That parking lot gets really cramped and really busy.
I know what you're talking about. Yep.
And to me, he runs a great shop. Hey, people come and go, but he is definitely a pillar of this community when it comes to the back to school drives and stuff like that. When he was one of the first shops, I think he was the first shop around here that was pushing, doing giveaways for bikes and school supplies and everything like that. And it's form of flattery. Other shops started doing it and basically kind of copying what he was doing, which to me is a good thing. We need more of that. We need to be unified more in all aspects, because to me we're getting away from a lot of morals of certain things that should never change. But I also feel like too we are a lot more open-minded when it comes to a lot of things. So and like I said, you will be back probably day 2 of the draft. I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to having you on more often. Hopefully I get Ant to come back. Ant will be back and healthy and all that stuff. And I feel like we'll make this is just a growing show and everything like that. And I appreciate you being a friend and always talking ball. And hey man, like I said, hope everything is good with you and the fam. And let me ask you this before we go, because I've been trying to do this with every guest. So last thing, 3 things that you're thankful for.
3 things I'm thankful for.
Yeah.
My family, of course. Love my wife, love my parents. I'm glad I got everybody in there healthy. A few good friends I have. You're in that circle. And the older you get, the less good friends you have. You know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. I'm thankful for the opportunity that Sunshine Pro Wrestling's given me. It's been, I love being, however little business it is, I love being in the business. Gives me something to do, besides football and fantasy football, and get to help with the storylines. And like I said, I'm going to be the Okalao show. I'm going to be quite a bit more hands-on in the show. I'm not going to say too much, but you guys will know before it happens. And if it does happen, I'm going to need some friend support in the crowd. So
you better you better send me a clip of what happens and all that stuff. And everything.
Check out the YouTube channel. It's easy to find, Sunshine Pro Wrestling. You'll see me in spots doing interviews. The one show I announced isn't out yet, but there's a couple interviews. There was the face-off between the ladies for the championship. I have an interview on there. The first one wasn't good with Muhammad Ali, but it's Ali Muhammad, but he's not with the organization. I did an okay interview with Rose, but one with Wilson. So there's some stuff on there, but yeah, it's fun. You know, like I said, I'm thinking we're family, friends, you know, this wrestling thing, and of course, chicken wings.
Listen, I'm always down for some chicken wings, man. And so we will have to get together. Like I said, I would like to have you more on often, and you know, as a occasional guest, and you know, just because, you know, hey, look, you know, I love people that have a lot of sports knowledge and everything. That, and I would also like to do like a 5-round debate with Al on here. So you can not be the referee, but I could be the referee this time, and you and him could argue, because you would always start stuff with me and Al, and
this
then
is
walk
what's
away.
gonna happen. I'm gonna get you guys wound up, and then I'm gonna log off.
You ain't gonna do that to me, because I'm the host. I'll go ahead. I'll mute my mic so I don't even respond.
You know, they killed many a work morning for me. That's all I'm gonna say. Is when we're all working together, I just wind you guys up and go to work, and I come back and still be going at it.
Listen, I love him to death. He's like my brother from another mother, and everything. And I look forward to having him on with you. And like I said, we'll get together soon, and I'd like to have you on more often. That way you can promote your Sunshine Pro Wrestling, and go from there, man. So with that being said, like, subscribe to Bearded Bites Breakdowns page, the Facebook page. We have over 100 followers now, so I'm actually able to go live on the actual Bearded Bites and Breakdowns page. I don't have to do it on my personal page no more. You know, so that's great. We're on Twitch at Bearded Bites, Bearded Bites and Breakdown on Twitch. We're on YouTube. Go follow it, go like, subscribe, and I will share that Sunshine Pro Wrestling so everybody can see it. And good luck to you, Mike.
Facebook, Instagram. We got a YouTube channel. Hit like, hit subscribe. Enjoy the chaos.
Peace out, everybody.
Go Bills.
Happy Easter, everybody. Peace out.
Go Bills.